Hello and welcome back to the channel, kit review time. So in this one we are going to be looking at Airfix's Puma helicopter. So a real blast from the past. So this boxing here is an 80s boxing. The original tooling was 1973 from doing a bit of research. So like I said, this is one of the boxings where they used to have the 80s ones where they had the built kit as the box art. So and instructions behind, which at the time I was not a fan of, but actually it's a bit nostalgic now, to be honest. So this is kit number 03021. Okay, if you're interested. And there we go, we've got a bit of a side profile there at the side of the box, and then obviously some colour call outs and a bit of writing. So this was when Airfix was Airfix Humbro, if I remember correctly. So let's have a dig in the box, see what we've got. So this is a second-hand kit. So, you know, this isn't a new kit from, you know, old stock. So typical Airfix, everything's fell off the runners. There's bags of bits and everything. So we've got some nice yellowing instructions, as you can see. They're aging well. So we'll have a look at them. Obviously you've got your colour, Humbro colour code. Oh, an Airfix as well. So that shows how old it is. The old Airfix paint. You remember them tinlets? And some other bit of health and safety. Then we've got a Ziploc bag with some parts in. As you can see, let's move that out of the way. Yeah, so the clear parts are in there and some other little bits. Put that out of the way. A rather sorry looking set of decals, which are, well, even French ones are well out of register, but we'll have a closer look at them as well in a bit. Fuselage, sides, which again, it looks like a Puma. So yeah, we'll have a closer look at that as well. And then again we have, oh god, stuff all over. Another loose part here. And then make sure there's nothing left in the box. So yeah, typical of Airfix at the time with their runners that they use, or sprues. So again, we'll just move them to one side, try not to lose anything. I'll shove that in this Ziploc bag. So that, so it don't go off about. So start off with, we will have a look at the instructions. So like I say, they are yellowing with age, but obviously it gives you some, typical of, you know, most instructions, but some history of the actual aircraft itself, what it can do. So I'll do it in different languages as well. So you've got the English, French, German by the looks of it in there. Obviously the pull-out style instructions of old. So only eight steps, so we can get through this. So obviously cabin floor and all the cockpit is first, and all the seating, which is actually nice for an Airfix kit that you know, you've got some interior detail to go on. You get a couple of standard pilots as well to fly the thing, or your control sticks and, you know, controls there, and a box that goes underneath. Winch, undercarriage. I'm just looking. Could be undercarriage? Don't know. Not sure. Anyway, it probably says here. So that's your first part. Second part again is finishing off all the cockpit parts and your front wheel well and the front wheel. Moving on then to the rotor head done, and there's your actual rotor head motor exhaust and attaching that bit, so all that fits in, and then putting the thing all together. So your interior parts going in, your bulkheads, your engine and exhaust, obviously these side sponsons are called, or pods, whatever you want to call them, with obviously the undercarriage in there, and then all your glasswork as well to fit. A lot of glasswork, it's quite a thingy on the front of a Puma helicopter. Then the sliding doors go on, which I presume are if movable if you fit them correctly. Rear rotor is going on as well, which I've missed on that set, so the rear rotor will go on, and then also some like dangly bits as well, which you're going to have to be careful not to knock off. And finally, in step 8 is just drop the rotor, actual rotor on. So again, pretty straightforward, I think. Not too complicated at all. Oh, well, just why I'm reading the instructions, you do actually get a transfer apparently for the cockpit, for the instrument panel. Which again, whether that's usable or not. So here's your options there. You've got Royal Air Force version and you've got the French version. I'm not sure about what squadrons they are because it doesn't give you the call out on here, but it does give you the, you know, obviously the grey, green and black and buff apparently, or olive drab, one of the two. Olive drab perhaps for the French one. So you've got a couple of versions there, and again all your colour call outs as how you need it. So typical of the time for the instructions for the Airfix, that's how they was. So, you know, if we're old enough to remember them, then you know how they go together. Right, let's have a look at these really, get the camera to focus. There we go. Yeah. The decals, let's say the decals have definitely seen better days. So an aftermarket set is probably in order. I don't even think sticking these in the window for a month or so in the sunshine will bring these back. And whether they'd still work it after this, you know, 40 years old, probably, I do not know. But yeah, so there's your decal sheet anyway. Thought I'd show it. Right. Zoom out a little bit. Fuselage sides. Again, definitely looks like really, really fine riveting actually. 70s Airfix kits went up a notch from the earlier 60s and 50s stuff. They're really, really progressive. Some really little gems of kits which we've been seeing in the Airfix Vintage Classic range. They're bringing out a lot of the 70s ones. I know there's some earlier ones, but again, the 70s ones are getting a bit more of a look in, to be honest, because I think they were nicely detailed and moulded for the time. So again, no recessed panel line, it's all raised, but again, if you look at a real Puma, they are anyway. So under a coat of paint and stuff, this would actually look really quite reasonable. You're going to have to obviously be careful on your seam lines, but actually they don't look like there's a lot to... I think the only real issue you're going to have is underneath. And replacing them might be an issue. As you can see, there is riveting all the way underneath on that seam line. Now the choice is yours whether you don't bother because you won't see it, because it will be that way, and cheat and just tackle the top. Or you really go for it and then try and replace it. There's a couple of sink marks in the front there, look, as you can see, which probably need dealing with. So yeah, perhaps underneath will need a bit of attention. Again, it's your call, depending on, you know, how your kit is, whether it's got the same ones there, the sink marks to coincide with these locations. By the looks of it, yes, they do. My powers of deduction have worked it out. So one thing to check anyway. So that's that. Right, interior. So you do get some seats in a fashion. So your seat framing and your actual seats, which is a nice touch for an interior. So for the age of the kit, they paint up really quite nice. Then you can add your own lap belts if you needed to. What we got next? Again, cabin floor, I think. Rear rotor, which again is moulded in one. So no having to put that together in 100 separate parts. Rotor head itself, again, you know, it's there. The tiny little wheels, there's your instrument. I've actually got a bit of detail on it, but you do get that decal if you can save it. Again, you might get a better version than mine where the decals are not completely shot it. You know, yeah. It's all quite cleanly moulded. Again, this is, let's say, well, there's a bit of flash on that one, shall we say. So here's the doors. Again, is that the roof? Actually, I'll tell a lie, that's the roof, not the cabin floor, I think. Here's the cabin floor, apologies. Let's get this right if you're going to do one. There's the cabin floor. Perhaps could do with adding a bit of checker plate if you've got it. Bit of photo etch checker plate, something like that. 3D decal would be nice if they did one. There's the exhaust, obviously one's fell off, as typical. And whatever else I can find in the bag. Control sticks and another bit that's just decided to leave and go elsewhere. But all in all, yeah, nicely done. And last but not least is the 3 rotor blades. But again, the details, it's all raised, but it is there. So, a bit of clean up and a nice paint job you'll have, you know, something that resembles a Puma. Right, let's just try and empty this and not lose anything. Right, is that it? Is that the lot? Move that out of the way. So we've got, right, hold on, let's just do this bit. One bit at a time. So, bulkhead. Well, actually, look, it's got an axe and a fire extinguisher, which is actually a nice touch, to be honest. That's the top just above where the intakes are. So if you're doing a desert one, you'll need the sand intakes, which I think you can get. There's the other rotor blade, other part of the bulkhead, which has actually got some nice detail on it as well. So if you had the doors open, something to see. The other half of my exhaust, and then obviously some other bits I need to figure out what they are. I presume that's part of the rotor, and I think that's the front of the filters, and then there's your two pilot figures. Let's zoom in. Typical Airfix of the day. I think this is just standard issue of a Airfix pilot figure. Again, with the scale, he's not too bad, to be honest. Once he's inside, obviously a bit of flash there on his arm that needs scraping and cleaning. But yeah, overall, not too bad. Right, clear parts. So, moulded on wiper blades and some framing, and you can actually get a mask set for this. I mean, this has been rattling around in a box, so they're not the clearest. And a bit of flash, and you know, they're not brilliant. So unless you really want to vac form your own, you know, but I think a dip and a polish, and you could probably bring it back a little bit. You know, quite thick as well, to be honest. But again, that's typical of the day. But not unusable. Definitely not unusable. And then here's the rest of the clear parts here. So there's your doors. Again, not brilliant. And then it's your side windows as well, which have got a lovely sink mark in them. So yeah, they're a bit crude, to say the least. Oof. Now whether you could do it with them, I don't know. Or scratch build your own. They might even be thing enough to crystal clear the apertures. You might just get away with it, actually. Or a bit of acetate, I don't know. Again, you can see the lovely rivet detail there, and the strengthener look for the tail. The details there, it's actually quite a nice kit. So yeah, not bad for its age. Let's say it is knocking on a bit. So there you have it. The Airfix Puma helicopter. Like I say, it is of its age. You know, you've got to bear that in mind. But there's not any other options really out there for a Puma. It's a very, very overlooked helicopter. And we've, you know, Florey models and PM models been crying out for a new tool. One, I know there's a Super Puma out there, a couple of Super Pumas, I think Hello one and Italeri in 72nd, and then the old Matchbox 32nd one, which I have here, and I'll probably do a review at some point, so you can compare. But again, that's an old kit. I think it's just crying out for a nice new tooled, up-to-date version of this helicopter. So yeah, anyway, thank you all for watching, and I will see you in the next one.